Let us talk to Uriah Faber. 2 people now have told us to say hello to Uriah Faber on this show. That just shows how beloved the California kid is. Without further ado, we say hello to the inimitable, one of the greats, the legend, the pioneer. Hello, Uriah. How are you?
Doing good. How are you, brother?
Malot and Bronstein saying, hey, I know Uriah is coming on. Please say hello. Everyone loves you.
How about Malot, man? What a stud. That guy, going from the coaching corner to becoming the next superstar from Canada. I love that guy. And Chad, visionary, baby.
Yeah.
By the way, for the RAF future.
I want to obviously ask you about RAF. That's the main reason why we have you on. But did you see this coming from a lot? Like, did you think he would turn into this when you first met him all those years ago?
Yeah, we had our banquet every year, and Malot was our, we give out awards, and he was like the newcomer of the team, where a guy that has a bright future. Back when he was an amateur, back when he was still early pro. And then he took that hiatus. He wasn't feeling it for a while. Him getting his coaching, his coaching made him so much more confident and so much more hungry. He literally made the walk multiple times as main events and world championships and comeback fights. And he was making the walk as a coach. And I think it just made him realize, like, he can do it, and he's going to do it. I mean, he's going to be world champ.
Amazing. I love that. All right. So what about you? First things first. How is your back, Uriah? I mean, we're getting up there. You're getting driven off the mat. It seemed like you fell into concrete.
I was on the concrete. I'm getting thicker and sturdier.
God.
My back was actually hurt going into that. Like the 2 weeks before I did my first match, and I watched me hold this guy's head. I'm smiling, talking to him right there. You see that? I'm saying, "Come on, man, you got to resort to this, buddy."
What happened there?
Look. I like Arman, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think that was personal. I think that was him being a clickbait. He's like the National Enquirer as a human being. He's trying to get these clicks, and at all risks. These young guys will do anything for the clicks, and he wanted to risk both of our livelihood for some clicks there. He knew what he was doing. He said, "Oh, let's throw caution to the wind," and bless his heart. I could have, got up and did an elbow shiver to the back of the head or bitched and moaned, but I know exactly what was going on. He's just trying to draw some attention to the wonderful sport of wrestling. Get himself in line, and it's all good. I literally landed on the cement. I think it helped my back. My back was hurt 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't able to do much training. I think he realigned it there, and I didn't even do a warm-up at the match. I did no wrestling other than footwork and motion leading up to that, because I had a little issue, and I think he fixed it. So thank you, Arman, again for the help.
I do have to say, I saw that presser on Friday, and I was like, man, this is like 2011 Faber Cruz. Like, you had some zingers there. I had not seen that type of fire from you at a presser before in quite some time. Like, it just felt where did that come from?
What do you mean? You and I have banter all together.
I know, but I haven't felt that.
You and I have on text messages is the same shit.
No,
same with Connor. Me and Connor still rip each other on DMs on Instagram.
I know you're very dry. You're very dry, and you're not afraid to go below the belt. Also, by the way, I have a bone to pick with you, but I'll get to that in a moment.
I know what you're gonna say, man. That's me doing my clickbait. I put your name on there. I know it was Ben who wrote that article.
Yes, what the fuck, man?
I was hoping you get a repost or something.
I didn't see it till today. I know, it was my clip. This thing right here. People were like, "Hey, what the hell, man?" And then you got all the people in the comments saying, "Yeah, of course, typical Ariel." I had nothing to do with that headline. Although, it's my site. I'll take ownership. But golly, way to come after me.
And look who's talking about it. Me, you, and everyone else. So,
sure.
I had to get you involved, man. You weren't at the event, so I said, let's get Ariel involved.
But what about the fire towards Arman? It felt, dare I say, somewhat personal, a little bit? No?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and honestly, Arman, he's a crack up. He was perfectly cool the whole time. He was threatening his bodybuilder, guys were going to get up and beat me up or something, but those guys were all very respectful. They have respect for their elders, as the one guy said, and no harm, no foul. I mean, I will say, you know, the bill wrestling needs this, and I think I'm in here obviously not having a run at the Olympic, hope for wrestling. We're trying to get back in the fight game, but I'm a guy that spent his whole life getting really great at mixed martial arts. I haven't wrestled in a freestyle rule set other than maybe once in the last 23 years. I've been doing jiu-jitsu. I would love to do a jiu-jitsu match against Arman, a jiu-jitsu match against Henry. But I love to compete. I'm about to be 47. My birthday is next month. I love to get out there and do something right before my birthday to keep things lively and give me something to work for and show these guys, lead from the front for my guys that throw caution to the wind and look for opportunities, not guarantees. And I'm a guy that's got a skill set that can stack up against anyone at any level in a bunch of different disciplines. And so I'm not afraid to test it, and I'm having fun. So I had a great time, man.
So you were in there with Arman. He's obviously considered one of the best fighters in the world. Your thoughts on the skills that you saw, the strength, the technique? Is he who we think he is?
I think he's great. Yeah, I think he's very tough. I knew that going in. I said it before. There's some natural gifts that he was born into. Number one is his hair starts growing right here, like right past the unibrow. It starts right in the middle of his forehead. Whenever you're going against somebody that has that in the genetic code, that he's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Hair starts right here. It ends right before his back starts, where his back hair is going to be bulking up when he's a little bit older.
Yeah.
And so he's got some natural gifts. He's got a lot of resources. I don't know if his dad or some girls paying for him or some Armenian rich guys letting him rent planes and whatnot, but somebody's giving him the right resources and he's using it the right way. He's getting top level training and he's taking it serious. So I hope, and he's playing the game. He's a guy that is calculated, and he's a clickbait machine, a human walking clickbait. And he's not afraid to test himself. He's going after Colby next. I was a much smaller guy than him naturally, and now he's going after Colby, who's a much bigger guy than him. He's not tippy-toeing around anything. He's just taking on challenges. So respect to Arman. I would like to get that jiu-jitsu match, though. I'd like to do a combat jiu-jitsu match against Henry Cejudo and a regular jiu-jitsu match against Arman.
Do you think he beats Colby if he wrestles him?
Absolutely not. You kidding me?
Not.
I mean, there's no way, dude.
Really?
Colby.
I thought you were going to say absolutely.
No way.
Really?
Look, guys, I'm Giorgio's a pretty good wrestler. He's a strong guy. Arman and him are like neck and neck. They're about even. Colby was an All-American Division I wrestler at a heavyweight, and he's young and still competing. I'm 47. I have been wrestling for 33 years, so I've got skill set and everything else. But there's no way Arman beats Colby.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
he's active. He's arguably one or two best lightweights in the world. I know Colby's a 170 pounder, but they'll find a common way. I don't know. I just feel like he's a lot more active and in his prime as opposed to Colby, who isn't.
Yeah, but this is freestyle wrestling. You have 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Then a 30-second rest. Then you have another 2 minutes. Colby's going to do just enough to win. Mm-hmm. Arman's pretty good. And people say, oh, he only wrestled 3 years as a kid. 3 years as a kid in a place like Georgia where they take training serious gives you the fundamentals to really start. And I don't know how long Arman's been training for MMA, but as soon as you start training for MMA, then he started wrestling because wrestling is one of the cornerstones, and he's got resources to hire the best coaches and everything. So let's say he started training for MMA when he was 19, 18, 20, 21, 22. He's had another 10 years to practice wrestling, but Colby's still competing. Colby's still an active athlete. Colby's a guy that, never took his foot off the pedal when it comes to, being an offensive guy. I've been just having fun. I do jiu-jitsu 3 days a week. I didn't do any training for this wrestling specifically because wrestling hurts. Don't want to get hurt. I just take the skill set that I have and know that I'm there and go in and compete because I love it. But it's going to be different against Colby. Colby's going to have his way with Arman for sure.
You've been around this game a long time. You have your own promotion, A1 Combat. I want to ask you about that in a moment. But you know what it takes to put on a good show. A, what's working for these guys in your opinion? And B, what do you think the ceiling is?
Listen, I drew some parallels, and I know you talked about this last press conference, but I think my press conference with Henry Cejudo was even better. I don't know if you got to watch that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun as well. But what I said there is you've got the right ingredients. You've got Dana White. Despite how you see him or anyone else sees him, that guy loves the fight game, or at least you know got into this fight game because he loves it. He was already managing Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz before he bought the UFC. He was teaching kickboxing. He was, got kicked out of Boston because he was getting shook down by Whitey Bulger, who was trying to take money from his gym, his fight gym at the time. Like, Dana's a fight guy. He loves it. He's passionate about it. He's also an over the top character. He's not afraid to fight and has that grit. That's Izzy Martinez. Izzy Martinez, if you don't know Izzy, he's one of the top coaches in the world for wrestling and for MMA at this point. He's a over the top character. He doesn't take shit from anybody. He loves wrestling more than anything itself, and I mean, he's a main character, bro. He's a main character. Then you take Chad, who you just had on the line, who's a super savvy business guy. He's had a lot of success in the business world, and he said this is the most excited he's ever been for any project he's been on. He's a wrestler himself. His son is heavily involved in wrestling. That's how this whole thing got started. He's was in tight with Hulk Hogan and the Real American Beer, and just understands business. And then he understands how to get the financing and how to spend to invest in the longer picture. So all the ingredients are there. And then the sport of wrestling, it's always had its own subculture and its own group of loyal fans and loyal participants and its own stars within the sport. Like, when I go to one of these events, I get geeked out because of all the wrestling, the wrestling, um, all stars that are there, like the coaches that are there. I'm seeing guys that I'm like, oh man, that's so and so, and that's these are guys that I looked up to when I was in junior high and high school, but no one's been able to put it on a platform and make it work. If you go to an event, these guys know how to keep it fast paced. They do the lights and the action. The wrestlers are stepping up, and now with social media, you're having guys that are wrestling influencers. Caden Henschel and Giorgio and even like an Arman. These guys are able to market themselves and have this following that's wrestling based, and so the sport is right. UFC, you hear Joe Rogan and anyone talking about wrestling's role in mixed martial arts, the most important thing of mixed martial arts. The toughest guys in the sport are from a wrestling background, and so they found the right recipe, and I think the sky's the limit. The pay is important. How many guys have been able to be a wrestling participant and make money from it in the history over the last 100+ years? It's none. Now in the last year, all of a sudden it's a real thing where you can be a wrestler for a living. You can make as much as a doctor or a lawyer if you have 4 or 5 matches in a year. That's never been heard of, and that's why people are going to be tuning in, and there's going to be a bigger hype, and this thing's going to have a lot of success.
Which entity do you think has a greater future, RAF or GFL?
That's a day. Don't do your boy like that. What's his name?
What? What? I saw they just posted an announcement. You didn't see it?
I must have. I'll go back and check that out, man.
No, I think
on that front.
Yeah.
There was some merit to what that guy was thinking. I've got some really great ideas, but you can't go against the UFC. You got to go alongside it. You can't make up existing things. You got to go things that are already established. I've been having some really big talks, and I've talked to you about things I've been working on in the past. What needs to happen for mixed martial arts, and it's happening, but slowly, is just like baseball, basketball, football. There needs to be a clear path and route and systems in place to figure out how you get to the top. The UFC is the top dog. It's incredible what they've done and how much control they have. You can't go against the UFC at this point. You got to find ways to play along with them and add to the sport. Youth mixed martial arts junior high, high school, college. That we've done the Combat U with Sacramento State, first ever of its type. Then I think the AAA league, and it can't be a bunch of little things. It's got to be really set out. I've got some real ideas how in the next 10 years this sport can really become more and more mainstream. But you have to have more guys with money involved. You have to have youth programs that feed up to you know to all-star teams that feed up to high school all-stars, to college, then the AAA leagues, and then the pinnacle is the UFC. But so the GFL, I think they're missing the boat on a bunch of different ideas, except for understanding how to get more money involved. And so at this point,
That's the tweet, by the way. The groundwork is set.
what
Our 2025 year-end report is now live, highlighting GFL's transition to GFL Sports and Entertainment, a cleaner capital structure, and a year of progress across advisors, strategic partners, media partnerships, and capital. We are building through 2026 leaner, stronger, with more momentum than ever. The path to launch is underway. 2026 is about execution. So and you can...
Okay. Well, here's where I sit. I get guys that come into my gym all the time, and in my mind, I may think, man, this guy has no chance at all. I will never verbally say that, because you don't underestimate people. You don't underestimate what the human mind can do, what the human body can do. And there's been a few cases where people have proved me wrong, and I've never said a bad word, because I don't want to mess with anybody's reality, because reality is the truth, however you interpreting it for yourself. But it's going to be, from what I've seen, a tough road, but keep trying, man. Why not? We only live once, and it is what it is, and bring some more money in. And so, I know out of that deal, a bunch of guys got some money. I know Paige got some money, and Pettis got some money, and probably a few other guys got some money. Get some more money involved. But who knows? What do you think, Chael? I mean,
Chael, what the hell? I think that on May 2nd at the Thunder Studios in Long Beach, in the LBC, A1 Combat is back with their 35th show. What about Ethan Ewing? I feel like Ethan Ewing really helped put A1 Combat on the map, taking that fight on short notice, the success he's had. It's like, oh, wow, there's a lot of great talent coming from Faber. That felt like a big moment for you guys. Would you agree?
Yeah, Ethan was huge. Peyton Talbot, one of the biggest stars in the division. Joseph Morales with his second rebirth in the UFC. We've got Ryan Loder that won the Ultimate Fighter also, and the list is going on. We're really moving to become the California-based,
love it,
breeding ground for the top talent. And I've got so many stars in the make. Shane Collins. We've got our guy Eric Frosty Cortez. He's been with us since he's 15. We've got a whole stack of talent that's coming through the pipeline, and I've got some really big plans for A1 Combat. My partner, I call him Dana Whitish, Mr. Tommy Anderson. That guy's got the grit. He's got the grit of a champion, and we've been through some rough times, because it's a hard way to make a living, and really showed that we have the stay power to be one of these promotions that are coming up. But there's some things that need to happen. The next event, you guys check out a1combat.com, follow along. We got to get these guys opportunity to compete and be seen at top regional promotions. And we're California, baby. Uriah Faber's A1 Combat is taking over California. So you California athletes, come get involved. Hit us up on the website if you want to be a star. Let us showcase you.
I love that. And Tom's a great guy as well. He's always keeping me posted on everything that you guys are doing. I'm looking at that poster behind you, and last week we were talking a lot, the other one, the one right there, the WC one. We were talking a lot about WC because Cub Swanson was the last WEC star left on the roster, and he retired after his win. For the newer fans, you're right. Like, to me, you are WEC. When I think of WEC, I think of you first and foremost. In fact, Ilya, in an interview recently, said that the first MMA fight that he remembers watching live was you versus Aldo in WC in Sacramento. It meant so much to so many people, including me. When you think back now to WC and the legacy that it continues to remain, what do you think?
Man, I think misunderstanding. A lot of people don't know the history of our sport. I know you do, but I didn't step into the UFC until I was 31, maybe 32. That was against Eddie Wineland on the back of the first ever UFC fight for the title against Dominic Cruz, which I still think I won, but it is what it is. But UFC owned the WC. For anybody that ever watched the WC on TV, everything they saw was under the UFC banner, and they didn't have a weight class for the lighter weights at that time. 125, 135, 145 didn't exist. So that was the pinnacle of the sport. So when I was a champion there, Aldo was a champion, Benson Henderson, Pettis and Demetrius Johnson and Dominic Cruz and the list goes on. That was the prime spot to be for our weight class. And I was, 31 when or 32 when they finally merged the UFC with the WC, but it was always under the same umbrella, and that was the world championship for the weight. So I think people are misunderstood about that. I get a lot of, backhanded compliments on being not being a world champion, but I know in my heart where I stood in the place, and I had 4 attempts in my 30s, well out of my 20s, chasing that title in the UFC. But what a cool time in our sport. What an important part of our sport. It was the UFC providing more jobs for us at the time. It was another TV station, another set of sponsors, another group of fighters that got jobs and were held on a pedestal and brands being built. So I have a lot of gratitude for the WEC times and love guys like Cub Swanson and Donald Cerrone, another guy that is always associated with the WEC as a star, but went on to do more. It was such a beautiful part of my journey, and I have so much gratitude for it.
One more, if I can. You were just in there with him, with Arman. The fight that I probably want to see more than any right now in MMA is Arman versus Ilia Topuria. Who do you think wins?
Man, I hate to say this, but I have not been I don't remember watching one of Arman's fights. I just haven't watched them. Not because I'm hating or this and that. I was on the Jackson podcast, and they asked me about what I thought about Arman getting, and I just was unaware of it. It wasn't until after that podcast I started looking at his social media and being a little more interested. But I got to go back and watch him a little bit. I have no idea what kind of fighter he is.
You're sitting on the fence.
But,
who's your pick? You're sitting on the fence.
Bro, I honestly have not watched one of Arman's fight. I swear.
What about Ilia? Are you impressed with Ilia?
I'm very impressed with Ilia, but I think from what I've seen from Arman, I love where his head is at. He's a very focused guy, and I think this wrestling is going to be massive for him because he's focusing on the wrestling side of things. I think that's going to be huge for him. And I don't know how is his stand up, by the way.
Arman's?
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I don't know if it's Ilia level at the moment, but I just think it's such an interesting matchup.
I would say that's kind of my thoughts is this wrestling progression and him focusing on this wrestling is going to be so huge for him on a real chance to be the guy that's as dangerous as Ilia is in the stand-up. I know Ilia's got this great jiu-jitsu supposedly. I want that match still, Ilia. We were talking trash back and forth in the back, and he's like, "Oh, how do you want me to submit you?" I go, "Bro, I'm no bitch."
When was this? When was this?
Jiu-jitsu's good.
When was this?
This is when I was in. We were in a different country somewhere. I was cornering, and his brother was fighting on the card, and we were talking about rolling. He's like, "How do you want me to submit you?" I go, "Bro, you're talking to the wrong dude, man." I go, "Let's go," and I tried to set up a match. It was friendly, of course, but I'd put my jiu-jitsu against anyone in the world right now.
Wow, that would be.
But anyways,
yeah.
But anyways, what I'm saying is this focused on wrestling, and I've seen it with guys like my guy Song. No one gets to see his jiu-jitsu or his wrestling because you get glimpses of it. When you spend time getting great at something and focusing a lot of time on something, it can pay big dividends. So I think that this wrestling focus for Arman is going to make his chances of beating a guy like Ilia, go up tremendously because he's going to gain so much on understanding how to win. It's not just about going out and having wrestling moves. It's gaming the right timing and understanding. You have a certain amount of time to do it. Like that kind of stuff plays over into fights. When you're up or when you're down, or how to sit on a lead, or how to come from behind. You learn a lot from wrestling. So I think this push on the wrestling side is going to be massive for Arman when it comes to getting that actual title shot. But I'd still lead towards Ilia because I know that Ilia's got phenomenal jiu-jitsu and rock solid hands.
Yes.
I mean, he's a guy that has put anybody out. on any given punch. So
Yep.
I would still lean towards him, but I'm excited for Arman to be in the mix. You know, I love the stars, man. I've always identified it with guys like with Connor and O'Malley and the guys that they get kind of a little bit of hate because people like them and they've got the it factor. It's like, dude, these guys are putting in work. These guys are dangerous. These guys are real deals. So both Ilya and Arman have that it factor, and I'd love to see that fight.
You're the man, Uriah. Thank you very much. Great stuff over the weekend. Keep it up, and we'll check in with you soon.
Yes. Great to see.
God bless.
That was all in love.
I know. I'm going to retweet it after the fact. I have no problem with that. I love
All
you.
right, brother. I'll talk to you guys today. Hey, tune into RAF, guys. All you wrestlers, people that love our sport, get behind this because it's a great thing for combat sports. A great thing for wrestling. It's a great thing for the athletes that are passion first combat. Professionals. All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Uriah. There he is, the California kid, the one and only Urijah Faber. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.